How do I 23F get my boyfriend 25M to stop treating dishes like they're a threat to his masculinity? So I need to vent because this is driving me insane. When we first moved in together, everything was smooth. He was kind, sweet, and actually helped out with chores, washing dishes, taking out trash, even cooking sometimes. I thought we were a team. But over the last few months, something changed. I asked him to help with small stuff, like washing dishes after dinner, and he flips out. Legit rants like, "This isn't my role. I'm a man, not a woman." I paused, laughed, even tried explaining that helping out isn't about gender, it's just teamwork. Nope. One night I was scrubbing pots while he sat on the couch scrolling his phone, muttering about traditional gender roles. And yeah, I get traditional gender roles are a thing, but when I'm basically running a tiny hotel here, it's not romantic or old school. It's exhausting and honestly infuriating. I've tried patience, humor, and nothing works. I can feel my soul shrinking every time I wash yet another plate while he protests for my principles. Reddit, how do I get through to him that a relationship is supposed to be teamwork, not a one-woman show with commentary from the sidelines? It's super easy. Tell him to get his ish together, or you're out. It sounds like someone or a group of someone's has got his ear, and he's no longer the person he was when you move in together. You need someone who is going to be a true partner, not an AH. Gross. Leave. Bro, what? First, you and he shouldn't consider his part in the chores helping out. If he lived alone, he'd have to do all of it, so it's natural that he does half of it while cohabiting. It's not helping, with the dishes when he does part of the dirtying, and eating the meals made in the pots. Sexists need to be single. Time to look for an apartment and move out. His what? Role? Principles? What? He'd fight a bear for you, when he can't handle moderately dirty plate. When he can't fight his way out from under his phone. I'm a man. Is the man in the room with us, boy? Pee-pee stuck in the vacuum cleaner at 12, and housework makes you cry now. I want you to imagine experiencing this behavior for the rest of your life. Does that really sound appealing to you? Man is 25 and can't wash dishes? What other simple household chore can he not do? These types of men are so coddled growing up they become absolute nightmares as adults. My 35F, husband, 38M, fractured his own skull by hitting himself in the head. Today, my husband, 38M, and I, 38F, were having what I considered a minor disagreement about where to store the bedding for the kids. And it ended with him hitting himself in the head so hard he fractured his skull. He is currently in the ER. Not sure what the damage is yet, but I know I'm scared and I don't know what to do because of the kids involved. Our relationship has been rocky for a while. I'm a giver and a leader. He is a taker and very passive. I had 2 kids by another man who I left because of domestic violence, and my current husband has raised the kids since they were pretty young. When my husband and we moved in together, I burnt myself out making all the money and taking care of all the kids' stuff and cleaning the house. It took 4 years, but he finally recognized that playing video games all day as I supported him in every possible way didn't make him a good dad/husband. Since then we have been communicating more about how to build our family together and our relationship issues. He started going to therapy and was diagnosed with a mood regulation disorder. I'm forgetting the name, but basically he has a few triggers because of the way his dad treated him as a kid. And if those triggers are set off, he has wild outbursts of anger or sadness. After getting this diagnosis, he stopped going to therapy, and I stopped seeing any hope for our relationship. We can't communicate at all because everything to him sounds like he is being dismissed or called a failure, which are his triggers. He will twist some truly mundane situations into a dismissal. One instance that comes to mind is when he told me to make a playlist on Spotify's so that the songs I wanted would play in order, and I said I was fine doing it how I usually did it since I was not driving. Okay, so the fracture. So what led to this? I was cleaning/organizing the house and suggested an option for our kids' bedding storage that I thought about a lot and enabled the kids to do their own laundry. He said no, but then I said no to his alternate idea. He got mad that I dismissed him. I said that my intention wasn't to dismiss him, but that I had already tried his idea before and knew it wouldn't work. He was confused by my statement, so I told about how the organization of our home has been something I have done for a long time and put a lot of effort into, but that effort is generally not seen or acknowledged, hence how he didn't know his idea had already been tried. I told him I was feeling unappreciated and listed out some of the things I've done that I doubt anyone ever noticed. He responded by pointing out of something I tried years ago that didn't work out, in being vague here, because he was. He never specified what he was talking about, and I didn't want TI derail the convo to get into it. And I started crying feeling very unappreciated. To me, his response sounded like an acknowledgement that he did not appreciate or acknowledge the countless ways I made our lives function. When he asked why I was crying, I told him this. Here is where he got super frustrated. He said that he was trying to acknowledge my effort. He said he must have known about my organizational attempts to be able to point out how one feel apart. He got more and more frustrated as I pointed out that it really wasn't a kind or understanding comment, and definitely did not make me feel appreciated, only criticized. We went around and around, and eventually I went to our room and closed the door to let out my tears. While in my room, I heard him screaming, and at one point he screamed, "I fractured my skull." He came into the room to continue the conversation, but I left to finish the cleaning/organizing I was doing. He followed me and stated again saying he said before. I again told him it was hurtful. He told me about his skull fracture, and I told him in that case we need to get him to the hospital ASAP. He said first he just needed me to understand that he wasn't being rude or dismissive towards me, and his earlier statements proved that he appreciated me. He started screaming and crying and pulling his hair, falling to the ground banging his head, and saying that I was supposed to be the one person in the world who understood him. I was getting really scared watching this display and started backing away to get my keys and my daughter, 16F, so we could remove ourselves from the situation. Once we were safe, I told him to call his bro or an ambulance to take him to the hospital ASAP. He ended up calling an Uber and is at the hospital now. I feel pretty strongly that this behavior does not belong near the kids and that it's dangerous and scary. I feel like I should leave him at least for a while, if not indefinitely. But one of my kids, 14M, is very mentally unwell because of unresolved abuse he suffered by his birth father. He said my husband was the only male stability he had in his life, and that if I divorced him he would never be okay and never forgive me. He said this about a month ago while we were on the way to a mental health facility for acute treatment. I'm so confused. I feel like I already fed up so bad by having kids with an abuser and not protecting them from him enough. I don't want to make things worse by repeating the mistakes, but I feel no matter what I do, it's the wrong choice. Update. I'm reading all your comments. Thanks for your insight and support. There's more going on here than I originally thought. Important context. My husband is autistic. I actually am too. My husband went to the ER and does not have a skull fracture or any other issues with his head. I talked to him on the phone tonight. He is staying elsewhere tonight and has taken the next few days off work to get mental health treatment. He says that what happened is explained by autistic meltdowns and that I need to have more empathy for him. I told him I didn't care and to stay away. For those of you asking why I stayed, I have no family. My friends are either several states away or are not in a position to help. I cannot afford my place without him and cannot drive my kids to their various therapy appointments without him. It seemed like a whole lot of pain and hardship for complaints about a husband who doesn't pull his weight or who can't communicate in a healthy way. This is only the second outburst like this, and for the first one, he didn't hurt himself in any way. Just the hair pulling and roll around on the floor. Still scary to watch a large man do that. Talk to a lawyer ASAP. Staying because of your son will only damage you and your daughter. This isn't stability. Unless your husband lies about how the fracture occurred, he is likely to be committed for a psych evaluation. This would be a blessing since clearly he is mentally unwell. I would encourage you to make sure the doctors are fully aware that this is a self-inflicted injury. It's impossible to self-diagnose a fracture like that. Only an X-ray could show it. If he had created such a large break that he could feel it externally, he would be in too much pain to talk. That was him manipulating you to give him attention. He may not be aware of how his actions are on the outside. But this is not okay. Your kids are being abused every day they're in that house. They shouldn't have to be around this at all. You left the house because you didn't feel safe. He knows he has a mood regulation disorder, but he won't stay in therapy. He is verbally abusive to you. He became so out of control that he fractured his own skull. What more do you need to know, OP? I get that your child is in a terrible place, but how can it possibly be good for him to be around such awful behavior? The next skull he breaks is likely to be yours, OP. Get out. OP, I mean this very kindly. Your man picker is severely broken. Please get a divorce before someone else is hurt or killed. Meanwhile, stop dating until you've healed whatever is causing you to choose horrible men. Good luck. You are exactly right, you need to be out of this relationship immediately. I, 25M, got a random girl, 29F pregnant, I'm scared. Before saying anything, I know how stupid I am. I know how stupid you're going to think I am after reading this post too, but I'm extremely scared. I met this girl only a few weeks ago. We had unprotected sex 2 weeks ago while drunk after the bar. She said she took a plan B, but apparently it didn't work. Last week, I cut her off after she displayed some serious red flags while she was drunk. A few days ago, she asked to talk in person and showed me 2 positive pregnancy tests and said she missed her period. Neither of us are in any situation to have kids. I'm at one of the lowest points in my life, as is with no job, no career, and living with my parents. She's a bartender, just started nursing school, and is also living with a parent. I'm begging her to get an abortion. It's still so early. She doesn't think she could go through with it and live with that decision. I don't think she really understands how much having a baby would destroy our lives. I've been studying to become a software engineer. My dream was to work with AI and robotics. I'd have to put that all to the side and seek a stable job as an electrician with my friend who owns a company. If she has the baby, abandoning it isn't really an option for me. I couldn't live with that, and my parents would kill me. We have a Planned Parenthood appointment set for tomorrow. I'm really hoping something clicks in her during that appointment and brings her back to reality. I barely know this woman, and I feel like such an idiot. I can't believe how quickly my whole life may have just changed because of one stupid drunk mistake. She's still not 100% set on any option. I just don't know what else to do other than beg her not to ruin our lives. It feels like I'm completely at her mercy, since I legally have no say in her choice. I can't sleep, and I can't stop panicking. I don't even want to tell my parents until she makes a final decision because they are completely against abortion. For people who've been in a similar situation, man or woman, did having the baby actually ruin your life? Or did having the abortion actually cause eternal regret? Edit. I didn't expect this many comments. Thank you so much to everyone giving advice. I'm trying to read and reply to all of them. Some things I should add here. She said I'm the only dude she's been with in months, but I will still get a DNA test if she goes through with it. I won't sign anything until we know it's mine. Also, according to many comments, it is possible to have a positive pregnancy test within 2 weeks. I will come back and provide an update tomorrow after the appointment at Planned Parenthood. Thank you. You're getting a DNA test right. So first, it's totally possible to have a positive pregnancy test 2 weeks after sex. Pregnancy dating is weird. For weeks pregnant is actually 2 weeks after conception. You can get a positive test as early as 8 days after ovulation. But with that being said, if she keeps it, see what the ultrasound dating is when that happens. Get a paternity test when you are able to. For the future, always carry protection. Always use it no matter what. Good luck. You are 25, not 15. Unprotected sex has consequences. No way is it acceptable to guilt or coerce her into an abortion. State your stance on the situation, that you are not ready / do not want to be a father. That a DNA test is mandatory. And if you are the father, you'll need to determine how you want to be involved, if at all. Note that if child is yours and you don't want to be involved, you're still obligated for child support. If child is yours and you decide you want to be involved, court-mandated co-parenting and custody agreement is a must. Start thinking about what you want. Also, DNA test done as early as 10 weeks of pregnancy. It doesn't have to wait until the baby is born. 2 weeks ago, and she's already got a positive pregnancy test? Crisp example of a fuck around and find out situation. Dude, you sure you're not being scammed? If she slept with you randomly, what say about her not sleeping with others at the same time? She could just be trying to get some money off you. I would ask her for a test whenever the time is to prove it's yours. If it is, then man up, get a job, and start paying for that kid. That's if you don't go down the termination route first. It would be a good way to see her reaction if you told her you need proof it's yours. Depending on what happens next, may just show the other person's intentions. I, 42 female, reunited with my first love, 43 male, after 20 years and still in love. I met him in high school and instantly fell in love with his courage. He was in a relationship then, but which ended after a few years. When he told me this news, I confessed my love for him and we became romantically involved. But soon after, he broke it off because I was being too serious about it and he was still raw about his previous breakup. I then met another guy and began dating him. This new guy was very upset that I was still talking with my first love, so I decided to cut communication with my first love. I did this because I knew that this new relationship wouldn't last if there was a chance that my first love would take me back. And I ended up marrying this new guy. 20 years later, both of us are now divorced, and I decide to reconnect as soon as my divorce was finalized. He happily agreed to this, and we began talking again and messaging regularly. He tells me that he has a girlfriend and that he has moved to another city, far away. I accept this, and I decide to keep it platonic. A year later, fate steps in, and my work takes me to the very city where he lives. He is excited to see me and spend time with me, and we do just that. And it is utterly magical. I just want him to lift me up and kiss me for the rest of my life. My heart was throbbing then, just as it did when I first laid eyes on him. His girlfriend joined us, and we talked, and I found her to be pleasant and interesting. They have been together for a few years, I discover. We say our goodbyes, and I return home. I think about him every day, but I know it would be unethical to interfere with his relationship. So I won't. Even so, I believe we are meant for each other. And what's worse is that I know that he feels the same. Would you tell him how you feel, or would you wait to see if their relationship ends, or would you start dating other men? My take: you've been fantasizing about him since your divorce as the one that got away. He is a happy escape for you. You shouldn't do any of your options. You should focus on yourself and being okay being alone, then start looking for a partner. You really have to stop getting in contact with this man. Just stop it. Maybe don't go looking for new love, since you still love him. But if it finds you, so be it. It sounds like you're projecting a fantasy about what could be onto this guy. You like the idea of being with him, but if you confessed your feelings and he left his girlfriend for you, what kind of relationship would that be? How would you ever be able to trust a man so disloyal that he left her for you? Keep your distance and expand your social circle so you can meet available men, rather than trying to sow drama based on a fantasy you've been nurturing since high school. You are 42, my friend. Trying to relive teenage fantasies is a coping mechanism to grapple with one's inevitable mortality. You are too old for this shit, but young enough to start afresh with someone. Go to therapy, heal yourself, and start looking for a partner. If it had to happen, it would have happened. This is the ultimate prof about why people never ever should start a relationship with people having an X in the picture.